have a lot to talk about, okay? I've seen a couple of posts that have me frustrated, but then at the same token, I understand. Whenever you start dealing and looking at racism, we're in 2026. As we watch number 47 unravel, ignore the Constitution, make decisions, use executive orders, go into war, capture people off the street, put ICE into the streets to um, gather up Hispanics. And we know black people are not crazy. We've seen this before, especially those of us that are intelligent, that understand history, that history repeats itself. And as you watch this, everybody is just literally, whether you want to admit it or not, there's a little shock, especially for those of you who thought when we said project, when Kamala Harris and Jasmine Crockett and other leaders were describing Project 2025, and everybody was saying this is going to be a pivotal vote, and a lot of people really thought they were putting 100 on 10. They thought it was a lot of cap, and they thought it was dramatic, and people were saying he can't do this, we're not going back, we're not our ancestors, and they had all these little quotes. Well, number one, they were right. We are not our ancestors, because our ancestors were intelligent. They may not have had formal education, but they were more intelligent than we can ever hope to be. They had a level of understanding that we can never have. Some of us refuse to even admit enough things, or to sit and listen enough before we make decisions to even have the intelligence that our ancestors had. While they worked and they were slaves, and they worked in the house, they worked in the fields, they listened, they learned, they gained an understanding. Their enemy was the white man who kept them, whatever their slave owner, the one that beat them, that sold their children, that raped their wives, that beat their husbands. That was their enemy. And they understood their enemy, and they studied the adversary. Much like the Bible, much like wise people. Not only did they just study them, but they understood their ways. So they were able to defeat based on their ways. Now, literally, I was born to parents who went to segregated schools. So I am one generation out of Jim Crow. I grew up looking at roots. I grew up understanding my history. I grew up understanding who I was as a black woman. I don't give a rat's behind where you graduated from. I don't care how many accolades you have. I am proud of you. I celebrate you. But white America with the KKK will always see you as black. And if you start to forget that you are black, then you're going to forget who you are. And ultimately, you'll start making erratic and ignorant statements. It was posted on Facebook that Chris Rock said at some point we got to stop blaming racism and move on. Well, Chris Rock, normally you have been one person that one of the comedians I like and thought was pretty intelligent. Maybe you're having a memory lapse. I don't know. Chris Rock is 61. So literally, we would be in the same generation. And his parents were in segregated schools, I'm sure. Not only that, for if you're 61, you probably he's only been rich and successful, let's just say 30 years. Let's just say mid 30s when he hit, I don't know, 30 years. So in 30 years, you think 30 years is enough, that 400 years of slavery and however many years of Jim Crow and segregation, you think 30 years we should have it, when literally we are still being discriminated against, you moron. They still control where we live. Bank of America has a program that they advertise, and they say, we will help you, we will cover down payment costs, closing costs in select areas. Now, they don't say black areas, but if you're a black person buying a home, yes, we'll cover you as long as you're living over here. That is racism according to economics, because economically, who is going to be more challenged in getting the money? Black people. Economically, when you're on jobs, if you look and watch, you'll have two people doing the same job, one white, one black, and they're going to start out differently. I have seen it. Generally, I work in areas where I'm able to see the pay scale. There's no difference. They may drudge up the paperwork. They may say they have experience. I literally watched one person get hired, no experience. They lied and did this entire introduction of her to the company, saying all the experience she had. And when she started working, and you know how you do, all you have to do is chit chat. Started having conversations, and she was like, "Oh no, I was so glad to get the job. I didn't have experience, and blah blah blah." And then as I'm looking, she didn't know what they sent out about her. I never said a word. I just listened. But I knew that she only got the job because she knew somebody and she was white. Not only did she get the job as a supervisor, but they hired her over a qualified black woman. So, Chris Rock, we cannot say that racism is not a factor when we're still being discriminated against. So, stop being so ignorant. But in the midst of the chaos and the shock and the realization that literally our rights are being stripped, that while some of you were so ignorant that you listened to morons like Charlemagne the God and Ice Cube and told me we gonna sit this one out, blah blah blah. While you set it out, they were already conveniently operating and putting into place Project 2025. Now, I'm not saying that all white America is for it, but it doesn't matter because they still voted along Republican lines. They still voted him in. Some people voted him in because they were against abortion. Some, and when they use morality and Trump together, it is so disrespectful. It is crazy. I want to reach back and go through 10 generations of their ancestors to slap the mess out of them because that man is not moral at all. And who told you you vote for morality? You live by morals based on your own thoughts and your own values. You do not vote to tell somebody else how to live. That's the very premise that America was built on: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, whatever makes me happy, not whatever makes you happy with me. Because at that rate, we're going to all always be fighting because none of us likes the way the other person lives. Literally, we all do our own thing, and that was what America was built on. But it's so funny how that is the blueprint of America until they decide they don't want that, or until somebody does something they don't want. And this whole thing against abortion was birthed out of the fact that somebody said by 2030 it wouldn't be black or white because of the way things were moving. It would be a lot of mixed race children. And the white community with the KKK, not all white Americans, but a lot of them lost their minds and they thought, oh my goodness, we cannot let that happen. And they began a plan. And they've been doing it ever since. So when you sit out and when you don't vote and when you make ignorant statements about racism, you set us all back. We have not recovered. We are still, every time you look around, we're still saying this is the first black, the first black, the first black. It shouldn't be that way, but we're always going to document history because history repeats itself. And when we make strides and accomplishments, we have to highlight it. It's not our job to hide it because you're embarrassed or because you think it's overkill. I really don't care what you think. I am way past what America thinks, America with the KKK. I'm way past you guys being comfortable. There is no such thing. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what a black woman does. If she's quiet, she's ignorant. If she's talking, then she's too loud and she's aggressive. You'll never be happy. So what we're doing, what we need to stop doing, what we're doing now is we're living black out loud. We are who we are. We're proud of who we are. If we were not so great, you wouldn't work so hard to keep us down and you wouldn't copy everything that we do and try to steal it and make it yours. But I don't even need any of that proof. I look in the mirror every day. I look at my ancestors. I look at what I fight against every day and still thrive behind it all. So I know that I'm great. And if you don't like it and you don't understand it, I really don't give a damn because I don't need your approval in order for me to be who I am. And yeah, unfortunately, I dropped a curse word that time. You can take it however you want to. That's on you. But what we have to do is we have to be honest, we have to be real, and we have to have an understanding.